Welcome, everybody, to episode 30 of Smack Talk here at smarkoutmoment.com. I'm your host, once again, and always, Tony Mango. With me, just Mike Burhan again. Dace, for some reason, has been MIA on the show. I don't know. Tweet him and convince him to come back. He's busy and shit.
No, Dace is here, Tony. I don't know what you're talking about. Hello. Hi, Dace.
Fuck Lilian!
Wrestling. See, he's talking.
Uh, got quite a bit to talk about, and first things first, episode 30. Fuck. Didn't think it'd last that long.
That's what we really need. Episode 30 needs to be like a fuck fest. We should have like loads of different former female wrestlers in the studio just so that we can do that. Prostitution.
Let's see, hopefully episode 50. So,
Kill me.
first things first, you haven't asked him?
Yes, I do. Because I know I won the last one, so I get to do this week's.
Had a lot of competition last week, too.
Oh, I was so excited.
Days! uh,
And Urban. Oh, wait, Chris Urban's here as well. Oh, hey! Now I can just do this. Like I can do like a 6-man show.
you could be
Uh,
Braden and Urban and Dace and everybody else.
yeah, Braden's here as well. Hey, Braden, how's it going, dude? Hey, there you go. And this week's Ask Him, we'll do, is someone who's had a very storied career in professional wrestling. Um, they are a former world champion, and has been used to train. Actually, he's not a former world champion. I do apologize if that was my error. He's a former mid card champion, former tag team champion, both in the WWE, and has had success in the ECW as a former tag team champion and a former champion of many titles in WCW. When the first and First came to WCW, a storyline was suggested by Vince Russo that he would be Bischoff's illegitimate son. He's also a former member of an amazing tag team in ECW.
Amazing WCW tag team.
Amazing ECW
Oh,
tag team.
Wait, which one? ECW or WCW?
Yeah, ECW. And he's led a semi main event stable in WCW.
Raven?
Nope. Try again.
Hmm.
Looking at ECW guys, this guy also trains prospects for the WWE.
See, ECW guys, for the most part, either I know tons about them or I know nothing about them.
This ECW guy
Probably one
has
of the ones I
had,
know nothing about. And if it isn't, then I'm gonna be pissed. Who is it?
okay, he is Lance Storm.
Yeah, Storm's somebody that I actually don't know too much about. He was entirely in the section that I wasn't watching. He
He was
made
one
his
of those
debut
guys.
after I stopped and left after I started again.
Well, just for the audience's sake, Lance Storm was a member of the Impact Players, a ECW tag team who held the ECW Tag Team Championships for a while. Was considered by for an ECW World Heavyweight Championship run, but didn't get that run due to the fact that he went to WCW due to Paul Heyman's mismanaging of ECW. Went to WCW, formed a stable called Team Canada, which had loads of different names, including Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I kid me not, um, Mike Awesome, who's another former ECW alumni, and Jean Pierre Lafitte and Elix Skipper. All guys were like kind of semi main event players in the stable. Storm won every championship in WCW, bar the World Heavyweight Championship, which he was scheduled to win, but the idea was next. And he never had a World Championship match on a pay-per-view. Fucking idiots. Um, and he went to WWE, had a semi sort of mid card run there before being used as a jobber and having his final gimmick being referred to as having a big penis. So that is ask him.
Yep. And let's go into the hot tags. First hot tag. But these are actually going to kind of move in together. I'm going to jump around a little bit here. Let's go with the TNA stuff. Ric
Let's do it.
Flair has a bunch of heat on him from supposedly partying too much and making TNA front the bill at like Hard Rock Cafe or something like that, if I remember correctly, from all of his drinks that he's having and causing a big scene, being kicked out. Uh, on top of that, Alex Shelley is supposed to be possibly leaving TNA and going to WWE either for their tag team division or their cruiserweight show that they keep talking about. There's rumors that Matt Morgan is leaving TNA. There was also rumors that he was a part of the Revolution video, but that turns out to be a video game from WWE, not some kind of return or anything. So that rules out Batista and all that. And then everything kind of snowballs together, and TNA is suing WWE, claiming that somebody that worked for them told them trade secrets and they could cripple their organization and all this kind of total bullshit. But it seems like it also has to do with Ric Flair. Now, uh, let's see, which one of these bullet points do we hit first? Matt Morgan, let's just because that's the one that least amount to talk about. Morgan to TNA, Morgan to WWE. What do you think is going to end up happening?
Well, his contract with TNA has expired, from what I've been told. Um, him and WWE, I don't really feel that he's going to be utilized. I don't feel he's being utilized in TNA at this point in time. I believe he's just going to be on the bubble and it will eventually get released.
I could see him going to WWE and getting kind of like what Lord Tensai is doing right now, where they push him right off the bat for a little bit and then use him basically to job out and everything. A little bit like what they did with Chris Masters when he came back. Remember how that was like, well, now Chris Masters is going to get a push, and then, well, not really. And then now he's just jiggling his tits on TV, and that's it.
Yeah,
I could see Morgan being in that kind of situation, which, if he gets paid and he's like, I mean, there's no indication that he's actually going to retire soon or anything, but he's getting up in age. He's not 20 anymore.
and he's balding. It's funny every time I watch the guy perform in the ring. It looks like he's losing hair every time I see him.
He could get sponsorship with the same thing that Chavo and Sean use. But
Does Sean use anything?
I
I
think it
thought
was the
his was
same
just a
thing.
comb over.
No, I think he uses the same thing as Chavo. But
No, 'cause I remember he used that comb over idea like every time he was wrestling. And he had the two bits at the front of his lobe, and Triple H kept mocking it
yeah,
because he had that big gap between his hair and that bit of loose hair.
well, I could see Morgan going to WWE, but I can't see them pushing him real far. I mean, he's not going to go over there and get the Brock Lesnar push or anything like that.
Well, mm, I think again, it's depending what both parties can come up with. Um, I do believe there is a need for Morgan, but I also do believe he expects to be a bit in a position that's better than what he actually deserves.
Oh, and he needs to go to SmackDown if he does go, not
I
Raw.
just hope they don't do any like sort of Ryback style squash matches for him. They need to just pop him into a feud straight away and
Right.
let the guy work.
Then we have the Alex Shelley situation. Not much talk about Saban though, so that kind of uh, I guess that rules out the tag team idea unless they want to tag him with somebody else. But hopefully, I don't know too much about this cruiserweight show that they have, but if Alex Shelley does go to WWE in any capacity, I think that that's good. They'll probably put him in FCW for a while, try to get him to work the WWE way, kind of like what they did with Consequences Creed. or Xavier Woods is what he is now in FCW.
Yeah, well, he's doing a hell of a good job in the FCW at this point in time. He was also like shown in WrestleMania as part of that promo with John Cena, where he was giving words of wisdom to everybody.
Yeah, but like
So
a situation like that, I could see Shelley going into FCW, working on their FCW slash NXT kind of a hybrid show. Still not sure what's going on with that. Working that cruiserweight show and then getting in that way. And if Saban runs out of his deal, excuse me, with TNA, I'm sure Shelley would put in a good word for him and all that, and maybe we could actually see the Motor City Machine Guns in WWE. But I'm sure that they wouldn't be called the Motor City Machine Guns.
the thing is, I don't understand why they would sign Shelley and not Saban because they come as a package. They weren't really that great as single stars. They were better as a tag team, and by far one of the best tag teams out there. Um, I more power to the guy for going out and living his dream. But apparently, there's going to be a lawsuit coming in because of this, because they're saying that WWE's had insider information in terms of which TNA talent are going to be having their contracts expire, so they can come in and quickly offer them a contract.
Well, see, I could see that being the issue why they didn't sign Saban yet. Kind of like when they signed Antonio Cesaro and they hadn't signed Hero yet, right? Wasn't one of them they had signed, and then it took a little while for the other one. I think it was Hero was the one that wasn't signed first. But if I'm remembering incorrectly, then it's one of them. I don't know. But I could see it being a situation like that where they sign Shelley and Saban's just kind of has to wait out the rest of his term or something like that. I think more than likely they probably are interested in both of them because you can't really look at one and be interested and not be interested in the other one. You know what I mean? It's kind of like are you going to be interested in the Road Warriors or none of them, not just Hawk? That kind of a situation. But I guess we have to figure out what's going on with that. Flair, on the other hand, the one who seems to be causing all these problems, he seems to be going into the Legends deal sort of contract, and because of his friendship with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and all that, they'll probably back him entirely and have him pop up on Raw every once in a while and do all that kind of stuff. I hope he doesn't wrestle again. I wouldn't mind seeing Flair back in WWE in some kind of capacity, like they could have that Legends house. Flair would be good in that. He's fucked up.
Yeah,
uh,
he's completely. They could do a documentary where they just follow Ric Flair around for a few days. Probably
right.
end up with a crack dealer next to him in some ditch.
No, they'd be flying in a plane, jet flying. Uh, well, obviously, if nobody's caught on from this yet, the hot tags are not going to be a 30-second window this time.
No,
Just
of course
figure
not.
grouping that in. But let's move on to the second one. Uh, and then we'll get into two little Jericho things. But for right now, rumor has it that Justin Roberts and Lilian Garcia got into a huge argument at Over the Limit over all the fuck ups that she's been doing lately.
Fuck you, Lilian Garcia.
And she stormed off, and it was kind of like came to came to head during the Intercontinental title match. But naturally, they're saying that that's completely false, and they never fought in the first place and all that kind of stuff. But everybody denies shit on Twitter, and then we find out that a lot of the stuff was true. So you can't really back it 100%. You can't back the dirt sheets 100%, but you can't back the people just denying it because they're human and they flat out lie too.
Well, I've got an exclusive for today's Smack Talk, and the exclusive is I have the entire conversation transcripted, and most of it was just about Justin Roberts' dick size. She was like, "No, no, it's really small," and he's like, "No, no, it's huge. What the fuck are you talking about?" And they got heated, and he nearly tried to dick slap her in the face, but officials broke it up.
All this was in between the announcement and the ring bell.
Yeah, she tried to actually speak on this as well, like Conan would suggest, but it just didn't happen.
Well, if Lilian did get into an argument, she doesn't really have any grounds because she just keeps screwing up, and Justin Roberts doesn't. Uh,
It's
and
because
if
she's
the
shit. She cares more about her fucking singing career than she does at announcing.
and Roberts
And
is in it for the announcing.
exactly, and also the fact that it must piss her off that she's not the main announcer on Raw anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure that probably gets in.
And she's only taken this job so she's got more money in the bank. Due to the fact when she left the last time to have a singing career, it didn't work out.
Right.
Oh, and Lillian, fuck you.
uh, then let's go into the two Jericho things. First off, Jericho was talking about the promos from when he made his return and said that people looked too much into the little girl. It had nothing to do with the promo. It was just a little creepy thing. All this kind of crap. Bullshit excuse.
It is bullshit excuse. The promo was bollocks.
The
It had
entire
nothing to do with
thing
him.
the entire thing failed, and that's why they're saying, "Oh, well, we didn't really put a whole lot of thought into it." And it's like, well, you obviously didn't because it didn't pan out.
Yeah, because he trolled everybody. What he should have done is come out is basically once the promo started, he should have found a way to make it work,
Hmm.
and he couldn't even do that.
No, and this idea that I was just trying to be creepy and that was it, and it didn't have anything to do with it. Yet WWE marketed the fuck out of that as it does. You know that they were just doing the same shit that they always do, where they say, let's put something out there and we'll figure out a solution for it later, like they did with the Nexus. The Nexus, it's all part of a bigger plan. What was the bigger plan? They just ignored it after a while. Who was the anonymous Raw GM? Who was responsible for McMahon's millions? Uh, who tried to blow up McMahon? All this kind of stuff. They take an idea and they run with the idea and then they try to work backwards to it. And then when they can't think of anything else, they just want to flash something in front of the audience's face and go, "Hey, look at this! It's a distraction. Forget about the other thing." So uh, if you talked to Chris Jericho a couple months ago, then everything was planned, and this is the best promo ever. You talk to him now, and he's trying to dangle some keys in front of you and claim that it's our fault, which I think is just ridiculous. Uh,
He, the thing about Jericho is, ever since his return, has been a bit lackluster. He's just been turning into a big cock. And I mean that in the nicest sense. He is being a bit of a cock at the moment, and he does it because he believes that he needs to justify himself and prove that he's the best in the world and all that bollocks. And he doesn't. He doesn't need to justify anything. But don't sell shit and try and package shit as edible food
right.
because that's not going to work. It didn't work for McDonald's and it's not working for Chris Jericho. If he actually came out and said, "Look, I don't know what the fuck they were doing with those promos. They were trying to see what fits, throwing shit at the wall and seeing who these promos were fit for. It was originally for Taker, but then they did it for me. He'll even work himself around these promos. He's
Hmm.
a diverse guy. He can make it work.
Yeah, he could. I mean, look at the last return that he did. That was great.
Yeah.
The Save Us program.
Or the time when he like literally destroyed Shawn Michaels and turned heel.
Hmm.
He doesn't need much to get those promos over, but he was just being a dick and thought, "I know, I'll try in a fun and innovative way. I'm just going to troll everybody. And then everyone's going to forget about the promos." Well, the fact is they didn't, and you failed.
And then Jericho now fails again at a Brazilian event, live event. Somebody
Basically,
throw
my house.
a what was that?
Basically, my house.
Somebody throws a Brazilian flag in the ring. CM Punk waves it around. Jericho kicks it and essentially is almost arrested. Has to issue a public apology. They're claiming now that he's suspended indefinitely and all that, which there goes the Randy Orton versus Chris Jericho match for the pay per view. Uh, I I think, and we were talking about this before we started recording tonight's show. I think that it's a little convenient that this is happening around a time where we keep talking about he might take some time off. But at the same time, am I would be highly surprised if they orchestrated all of this. Uh, but if he legitimately was going to get arrested, because apparently it's a crime to desecrate the flag and all that, and this is speaking from an American's point of view, where Americans can be really ridiculous with this kind of shit. I think that that's ridiculous, and not just ridiculous because it's Brazil. I think it's ridiculous when they do it with American flags and stuff too. Now it's a different story if you're like burning the flag and holding a protest,
Well, if he
but
pissed on the fucking flag, then I'd understand, but he didn't even
right,
do that.
he's a heel. It's an entertainment thing. It's not yeah, like you said, like he didn't piss on the flag. He didn't walk up to the Brazilian I don't even know what the head of their politics what their
I
building would
think
be
said
called.
prime minister or something like that.
If it's a prime minister, like their prime minister's administration, he didn't like, you know, set up a flaming dog bag of dog shit on their front step or something. Like it's just an entertainment thing. It's a flag. Who gives a shit? Like when people go nuts because an American flag, uh, you're not supposed to let it drop on the floor. It's a piece of cloth. If you're not just doing an anti-nationalist kind of thing, then who the fuck cares what you do with the inanimate object? He kicks a flag. Big fucking deal.
I'm just waiting for him to sexually molest the flag so they can just fire his ass.
Well, JBL points out, I think it was JBL,
It was JBL.
about what Sergeant Slaughter did back in the Hulk Hogan era. And
Yeah, that
that
was 10
wasn't
times worse.
right. So it's like and it's not just a matter of everybody has to be so butthurt nowadays and politically correct and all that, which we shouldn't. And that's an argument for another day. But this whole Jericho thing, I mean, he WWE shouldn't suspend him indefinitely for that kind of a thing. But he made the call himself. It wasn't a part of their plans, so you can't blame WWE specifically for it if it does piss off the Brazilian government or whatever. But at the same time, this seems like it's somebody bitching and moaning and WWE trying to do damage control, like what they did with Daniel Bryan in the choke situation with the tie. It's just ridiculous, and hopefully this blows over and they don't fucking bother with it anymore.
Of course I don't, because it's. What are you going to say? The dude kicked the fucking flag. There's not really much else you can say about it. It's Jericho.
Hmm.
All I can say is learn from the experience and stop being such a fucking dick.
Well, that's part one. Obviously, the 4 minutes or whatever it would have been for hot tags. You got almost a full episode out of that, I guess. We have the tournament coming up and then over the limit review and results.